Rev up your engines! All right, GM just said that inflation and the semiconductor shortage is going to add $3 billion in the second half to the cost of building their cars. They're actually blaming more on inflation than on the semiconductor shortage. This is, of course, the myth of our BS supposed information society. They try to act like inflation doesn't exist. Any moron living on the street can see everything's inflated. Used car prices, new car, food, everything costs more than it ever did. And they're acting like we're not living in an inflationary economy. It's because the government just makes it up and they want to hide stuff from people. That's just how that stuff works. When I was young, the unemployment rate in the United States was based on the people that were over 18 that didn't have a job. Makes sense, right? Well, when old tricky Dick Nixon was president, it was so high, the unemployment rate, that they said, what can we do about it? And his guy said, let's change what it means to be unemployed. And they changed the rule to, you're unemployed if you're collecting unemployment insurance, and if you aren't, you're not unemployed. So all the young people that never had a job and all the people that weren't collecting unemployment benefits anymore that didn't have a job, they're not included in the unemployment level. So that's a bunch of BS too. Same thing with this inflation level in the United States. It's BS. It's based on some of the most absurd things you'd ever think of. The price of salt, flour. And I mean, who buys so much of that? You know, everybody buys already made stuff, and the price of that just goes up and up and up and up. I go to the grocery store, it's nothing to get a $250 bill. Don't think that there isn't inflation. It's already here. It's rampant. And GM admits that it's going to add to the price of their cars. Look, if you're going to build something, the price of wood has gone up and up, doubled and tripled in some areas. Inflation's a lot larger than what this BS government, of course, it's to their advantage to say it's lower because it makes them look better. They don't want to be in a period of rampant inflation. They're going to pretend it doesn't exist. But believe me, it exists. Don't listen to the politicians and the talking heads on TV because they just make up stuff. It fits their needs to make it look like, oh, things aren't all that bad. Because, of course, television is based on advertising, right? What's advertising? They're trying to sell you stuff. They don't want to tell you everything is junk and it costs too much money. Of course they're not going to tell you that. So GM admits it's $3 billion in extra costs for them. It's probably a lot worse, and they're not even admitting how bad it actually is. Well, here's an interesting one. The Union of Auto Workers says that GM's policy on cannabis is partly to blame for their worker shortage. In Michigan, marijuana is now legal, but GM test people for marijuana. With the low pay that they're giving these workers, they're getting paid less than $17 an hour, that they're not even bothering to apply for a job. They pay $16.67 per hour. Turns out around there, pizza delivery guys are making $20 an hour. And it's a lot less stressful delivering pizza and you're riding around talking to people than working on an assembly line in a part-time summer job. There's a competitive world out there now. A lot of people are saying, hey, I'm not even going to apply for that job. They don't pay enough money. You got to look at it from both sides. Do you really want a bunch of stoners building your car for GM? I wouldn't. Now, I don't mind a stoner bringing me a pizza as long as the pizza's in a box and you didn't get too hungry and ate it, right? But I don't want stoners building my car either. GM has enough problems with quality control as it is to have stoned people coming in building the cars. Building the pizza? Well, anyways, they're not even building the pizza. They're delivering the pizza if they make $20 an hour. It's a pizza delivery. But it's kind of a combination of all kinds of market forces. People don't want to work because they got money from the government to not work. Then they're not paying them that much money. Drug screening them. The tests that they do, from what I read, they can do something that happened weeks ago. So somebody who maybe wants to use it on the weekends in their body, and so they fail the test. And for a low-paying job like that, I kind of don't blame them either. But on the other hand, I don't blame GM either. Do you really want stoners building your car? They have enough problem at GM with sober people building their cars. Morel Kako says, I got a 2001 Infiniti Q45. Traction control system off light is on, the slip light is on in the dash. Someone vandalized my car and caused this problem. Do you know what could cause these lights to come on? Here's the problem. It's an older car. Right? It's a 2001. It's got all that high tech in it. This is the reason I don't like that high tech. As the cars get old, as they break, you got problems. Now, if it was vandalized, you can't blame the car. But still, it's a very complex system. You use sensors, computers, wiring. If your car was vandalized, you're going to have to find a guy who has a dealer-level Infiniti scan tool and is willing to work on the traction control system. It can cost a small fortune to repair those things. Now, pray it's something simple like they broke a wire off on a speed sensor. You might just jack it up, look at the wheels, and see if the wires going to the wheels have been broken off, and then you just have to fix that because it's all based on the wheel speed, the traction control, and if one of those sensors go bad, pray it's that easy. Mechanics like myself, we would plug our machine in and we'd look, and we could see, gee, we're driving it and the left front tire has 0 speed and all the other ones have the right speed. You know there's a problem in that wheel, and you check that first. But they are very complex, and let's say if they vandalized your car not at the wheels but under the hood or in the dash, it could have ruined the computer modules and all kinds of stuff. That stuff is so expensive to repair. And of course, in your case, you say it doesn't have normal performance because when the traction control system comes on, a lot of times it lowers the power of the car because it thinks there's a problem. It doesn't want you driving too fast. That's the problem with those systems when they break, which is why I don't like them, because I keep my cars for 20, 30 years. And when those systems break, man, they can cost a fortune to repair. And the modern ones will actually affect the performance. The early ones, you just lose traction control, who cares? But the modern ones, hey, you will get all kinds of problems. Johnny Rumlick says, how safe are hydraulic lifts versus jack stands? And he's got a picture of a car that was on one of those hydraulic lifts and fell over sideways. If they are set up correctly, mounted to the ground correctly, they're extremely safe. They're pretty well designed these years after years and years of practice. Now, when I was a young mechanic, we had a really old-fashioned one in my father's garage. It had 2 levers. One did the front piston and one did the back piston. So you had to make sure you picked that thing up level, because if you had them cockeyed, you could be lazing it like this and you could flip the car right over. I mean, it was dangerous. But the new ones are generally got one hydraulic that picks the whole thing up, so you can't do that. And it's pretty safe. As they go up, they go click, 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 and they have locking ratchets. So if you lose hydraulic power, then it just locks on the ratchets when it comes down. They are pretty safe. There's no arguing that. Now, they're not cheap and they take up a lot of space. And of course, if you just work on cars like I do, like most normal people do in their driveway or their garage, you jack up with a jack and then you put a jack stand, get a solid steel one. Well, not made at Harbor Freight, the ones that were made in China where they cracked in half. Get some good solid steel ones, that aren't made in China. And they're real safe once you learn how to use them and jack them up and put them up. Most people aren't going to buy a hydraulic lift. They cost too much money. Who's got space for it? Where are you going to put the thing? You got to bolt it to the ground. They do have portable ones, but they're more dangerous because they're not bolted to the ground. They're just like a fairground. They stick them on the ground with little legs coming up, and they hope they don't move around. The good ones really have to be bolted to the concrete. Flatline 4270 says, looking at a 2002 Jeep Wrangler. It's got 180,000 miles and the guy wants $6K. My sister wants a Jeep. Is it worth looking at? He's got a picture of it. 2002, they made better vehicles than they do today. But it does have 180,000 miles. Prices of used cars has gone up. You do want a mechanic to check it out first. Never buy one of those without a mechanic checking it out. If he says the engine isn't really burning oil and the transmission's good, it could be a decent deal. I'd try to pay less. But with the prices of things these days, the prices are going up. And Jeeps, generally, people like them. It is a 20-year-old vehicle. There's a lot of stuff that could be wrong. You would definitely have to have a mechanic check it out before you buy it. If you would have said 2012, I'd say no, they're absolute junk. But in 2002, they were much better made than they're made today. Because you say it's got the straight 6-cylinder engine, and those engines can run forever. They're really well-made engines. They're gas hogs, but tell her the gas mileage is going to get. Maybe it'll change her from wanting a Jeep, because they're gas hogs. And she just graduated from college, doesn't have that much money. She may not want to pay that kind of money for gas. They're tremendous gas hogs. Chuck Tobias says, I got wind noise through my sunroof. I get a 20-year-old car, and noise is coming through the sunroof. What could it be? Well, there's 2 things it could be. One, open the sunroof the whole way and inspect the gasket. Look at it closely. Get one of these little flashlights, Get a strong little flashlight, all around with it open. See any cracks or anything, you're going to have to replace that seal. The seals do go bad. Also check the sunroof itself. They tilt, they go up, down, slide back. Make sure when it goes up, it's closed entirely and it's not tilted one way or another. As they age, they'll often not be in place right. And if they're not in place right, they're going to make wind noise. A lot of times they don't set right when they get old. And it's 20 years old. Me, I wouldn't mess with the sunroof on a 20-year-old car. I'd close the thing and I'd get the wind noise gone and I'd leave it alone. My wife had a car. It was a Chrysler, and I even sealed it with clear silicone sealant. Put the sealer and I closed it and let it dry. It wouldn't open anymore, but it never leaked or made any more noise after that. Well, Jeep is now offering Gorilla Glass windshields for the Wrangler and Gladiator. Same kind of stuff you have on your cell phone. They're saying that they're going to charge $95 extra for the Gorilla Glass. It'd definitely be worth it. It's stronger glass. Now, it's made back where I came from originally in New York State at Corning. Corning makes the Gorilla Glass. They made glass for, hundreds of years at that place. It's going to have a thin ply of Gorilla Glass on the inside. Of course, it's not going to be 100% Gorilla Glass. Hell, you know how much money that'd cost? Ooh, they'd be expensive. And a 52% thicker outer glass. You realize you got glass and you got got a sealer, and then you got an inner glass. So the outside glass is going to be thicker too. Gorilla Glass upgrade available for a lot of the Jeeps starting in 2018. Mopar quietly introduced them because I guess they didn't want to admit that their windshield stunk and they broke, and they're giving you this upgrade of glass that's a lot better. So if you're worried, hey, you might want to get one of these Gorilla Glass windshields put in your car. If you're buying a new one, pay the extra $95 and get it installed because it will last longer. They all break eventually if they get it hot enough, but you want to stop the medium-sized objects from breaking your windshield, and having a Gorilla Glass as an upgrade, you know, is not that bad of an idea. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.